I didn't plan on camping that night. It was supposed to be a quick stop, just a few hours of rest before finishing the drive in the morning. My phone had no signal, my gas tank was nearly empty, and the road I'd been following had slowly turned from pavement to gravel, then to dirt. By the time I saw the sign, I didn't feel like I had much of a choice. Pine Hollow Campground, 1 mile. The arrow pointed down a narrow path swallowed by trees. No other signs, no lights, no indication anyone had been there in a long time. Still, it was better than sleeping in my car on the side of the road. I turned in. The trees grew thicker the further I drove. My headlights barely cut through the darkness, and the road twisted like it didn't want to be followed. After what felt like too long, just for a mile, I finally saw it, a small clearing. 5 campsites arranged in a rough circle. Every single one empty. At least that's what I thought. I parked at the one closest to the edge of the woods. It had an old fire pit, a warped picnic table, and a wooden post with a number barely visible anymore. Site 3. I killed the engine, and that's when I noticed something strange. The fire pit wasn't cold. It wasn't blazing, but deep inside the ash, something faintly glowed, like embers that hadn't fully died. I remember staring at it, trying to convince myself it was just heat trapped from earlier in the day. But there were no tire tracks, no footprints, no sound of anyone. I told myself not to think about it. I grabbed a blanket from the back seat and decided I'd just sleep in the car. No tent, no fire, no exploring, just a few hours. That's all I needed. It must have been around midnight when I woke up. I didn't know what woke me at first. Then I heard it. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, circling the car. At first I thought it might be an animal, a deer maybe, but animals don't walk like that, and there was a rhythm to it, heavy, measured, almost like someone pacing. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Leaves and gravel shifting under the weight. I held my breath and stayed perfectly still. The footsteps stopped right outside my window. Then came the knock. Not loud, not frantic, just 3 slow taps. Tap, tap, tap. Every instinct told me not to look, but I did anyway. Slowly, I turned my head, and I saw nothing, just darkness, my reflection in the glass. I let out a shaky breath, almost laughing at myself, until the voice came from the other side of the car.
Wrong site.
I froze. It was quiet, almost calm, like someone speaking normally, except there was no one there.
Wrong site.
This time, closer, right behind me. I spun around, still nothing, but the air felt crowded, like I wasn't alone in the car anymore. Then I noticed something that made my stomach drop. The fog on the inside of the windshield. It was shifting, like someone had just breathed on it, from the passenger seat. I didn't think. I jammed the key into the ignition and turned it. Nothing. The engine didn't even try. The voice spoke again, right next to my ear now, so close I could feel the shape of the words.
You took someone else's place.
And then the headlights flickered on by themselves. For just a second, the entire campsite lit up, and then I saw them. Every campsite wasn't empty. They were all occupied. People, if you could call them that, stood in each site, perfectly still, facing my car. Their bodies looked wrong, too tall, too stiff, like they were stretched just slightly beyond what they should be. And their faces? I couldn't see their faces, not clearly, but I knew they were all looking at me. Then the light shut off. Everything went black again. The engine roared to life. I didn't question it. I slammed the gas and sped down the dirt road, branches scraping against the car like hands trying to grab on. I didn't stop driving until I hit pavement again. Didn't look back, didn't breathe. When I finally reached a gas station, miles away, I stumbled inside and told the clerk what happened. He just stared at me for a long moment, then asked, "Pine Hollow?" I nodded. He didn't look surprised, just tired. "That place closed years ago," he said, "after a group of campers went missing." I felt my chest tighten. "Which site?" I asked. He hesitated, then said, "Site 3." I didn't sleep that night, or the next, because sometimes when I'm alone, I still hear it, tap, 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 and a voice that doesn't belong to anyone.
Wrong site.
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed tonight's story. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on the next scary story. And remember, it's just a story.